Alright, welcome. So today we're going to have a bit of a shorter stream here. We're going to be making a really cool looping animation, and I hope you guys enjoy. So this is the end result that we're trying to go for here. I'm not going to go into the shading in this tutorial. We're just going to do basic shaders. But essentially what we're going to make is we're just going to make these really cool pendulums, and we're going to make them swing naturally and have them effortlessly go straight through this loop here. So let's get a new instance of Blender here. So all we need to do first is just add in a rod. So get a cylinder here and press S, and then Shift Z to scale on every axis but S, and scale it down to however you think it should be, and then hit Tab, and this is an important part here. Hit Control GZ and Control there, and bring all of these vertices right up to this point so that they're on the world edge there, or onto the world center. Then tab out, and so now if you move GZ, you can see the center of the pendulum is that point, and that's what we want. So now all we need to do is extend it farther. So go into face select here, press GZ, just keep going down, GZ, and you want this one to go as far as you can, and then move it up, tab, GZ, tab, GZ, up. So now let's get in a icosphere here and subdivide it a couple times. There we go. And just scale it up to the proportions that you want. So that's pretty good. So let's join these together. Make sure this one is selected second so that it glows yellow. Press Ctrl J. Now we have a pendulum with the axis all the way at the top. So now let's get in our cylinder, or our disc that we're going to be going through. Scale it up however you want. Alt S, by the way, is how you scale the thickness of this. Alt S. You have to hold Alt and then S to do that. Otherwise, just get this. There we go. And I just learned that the other day. So now, also if you're wondering, I don't have a webcam on right now. My computer is overheating when I have the webcam on, so I'm going to try it without. See if that makes any changes here. So let's press R, Y90. Alt S, just a little bit thicker there. Okay, exit tab mode and shade smooth. So now, what you can do is, if you don't have box cutter, just make a cube here and scale it down, then scale it up on the z-axis and the y-axis, that, and then use a Boolean operation. So like this, add modifier Boolean object, and we want to select, nope, hang on, we don't want the Boolean on this object, we want that on this one here. So Boolean here, object cube, and then apply. Now we can delete this, and there we go, we have a cut. If you do have box cutter though, I would recommend just using the built-in Boolean cut machine. So much simpler. There we go. So now that we have that cut, we can shade it smooth, although I think we need to add a subdivision here. There we go. And put the subdivision in front of the Boolean, because these are all procedural. So now we get this nice smooth look. Perfect. So now we just need to get into the keyframing. And this gets interesting here. So let's bring in a mesh plane just so that we get a sense of the world here. GZ. There we go. That way we just don't see infinite everything. So now we rotate R and we're on the Y, so RY 30. And let's set a keyframe. Keyframe set. So now we can bring this up here and jump 60 frames. And set this one to negative 30. Not 39, negative 30. Okay, so now we can watch that back. There we go. We have a keyframe. So now let's just put all the rest of them down here. Jump this one to positive 30. Then 180. Goes back to negative 30. And then 240. Goes back to 30. And we are ending the render here on frame 239. And you'll see why in a minute, but that's because in order to have this keyframe identical to this one and have it seamless, you have to end it one frame before so that the frame that would come next is this frame here. So now if we watch it back, that already looks really cool. And it should loop perfectly. There we go. So I personally like to use a different interpolation mode. So I'm going to try Quartic. And that doesn't seem very right here. Vertical split there. Let's get a graph editor here. Interpolation mode. One. If anybody knows, tell me in the comments here, but I don't know why these are always set so weird. I don't like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do interpolation mode linear, interpolation mode Bezier, however you pronounce that, I don't know. Yeah, Bezier. And then we're going to go here and deselect the actual vertexes and just select the handles here. There we go. So now we have these handles selected, so we can play around with that and set this to individual center and scale it out like that. So now if we watch that back, that goes way too fast. So scale it in. There we go. And that looks nice and natural. Perfect. So now we can join that. There we go. So now we just need to duplicate it. So go to the top view here, press Shift D, RZ, and hold down Control and snap it to 90 degrees. You can also just type in 90 there. So now, if we look at it, there we go. Now I know what you're thinking, but they're going to collide. It's not that much of a problem. Just hold all of these points, press A. Oh, hang on. There we go. A, and then just drag it so that it's on the 30s here. There we go. Okay. Perfect. We need to bring this keyframe, copy it to this there, drag it one frame. There we go. So now if we watch this back, and that is perfect. That is just what we're looking for. Oh, is that one still? There we go. Alright, let's check the graph here. Graph editor. Yep, we're all good here. Nope, that's not good. Just make sure that this ends the same spot that that begins, and you'll be good. Alrighty, so now let's go back to our viewport here. Press play. Alright, and I don't see any difference. We're good. Yep. So now let's start animating this sphere, or this torus here. So now, let's just shade smooth, because that's going to bother me for eternity. So first step, we need to keyframe it here so that it's right where we want it. Why? Oh. Hang on. No, that's right. Did it get moved? Alright, set to 0. Oh, right. I'm sorry. So this part gets rotated here. Yeah. So RZ90. I was wondering why it was cutting through there. So set a keyframe. Then, as you can see, every 30 frames, this has to rotate. So now, set this to 45 degrees, or no, 90 degrees, sorry. I'm not thinking. And then 60 more frames equals 90 more degrees, and so on. There we go. That goes there. And there. And 30 more. 30 more. Or 90 more there. And last but not least, boom. So now if we watch this back, it's perfect. But as you can see, it sort of starts and stops, and we don't want that. What we want is we want a nice linear rotation. There we go. And now, to add some extra detail here, let's rotate this. So we want to rotate it on the x-axis here. So insert keyframe. Jump 30. No. Oop. And let's rotate this on the x 180 degrees. There we go. And then again to 360. Come on. Go. Then again. Don't know why I messed up so many keyframes. It's very important to have perfect keyframes when you're trying to make a looping video. Oh, you know what? I accidentally hit S to scale them all apart. Oopsie. Alright. 2 more here. $1,080 degrees. $260. 1,260. And last but not least, there we go. So now if we watch this back, perfect. Just perfect. So, there we go. We have a perfect looping animation. And, you know what? I think that goes a little bit too fast. So let's go down to here to time remapping under the scene settings and press 200. Go. And then times 2. Oh, nope, it doesn't have math enabled. Okay. That would be 4. There we go. So now, there we go. Now we have it at half speed. And you know what? I think I am going to go into a bit of shading here. First, let's just add a little stand to put this on. Cylinder, GZ, tab, S, I, GZ, Control B to bevel, tab, S, and Shift C. There we go. GZ, shade smooth. Q sharpen. Q sharpen is a function of hard ops, so that won't work unless you have that mod. And it's a very good plugin. Highly recommend it. Go. Perfect clearance. No interference there. S, Shift C, and scale it like that. Okay. Let's press I twice to inset face. That and then E, S. And keep in mind, we don't want this to be harsh because we're trying to make it a calming video. Let's pause that. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. There we go. My computer doesn't like me right now. Control B to bevel. Press C for constant. There we go. So now we have a nice constant bevel around that. And we've got these nice interesting shapes. Let's select this edge here, press 2 to get into edge select. There we go, and bevel this edge here. Like so. Q, sharpen. There we go. And let's add a separate texture on this part. Plus new assign. Assign. So now let's go over to the shading tab here. Exit that mode. Alright, let's give this a gray, metallic. Okay, and as for the other one, let's do the same. Just a light gray, metallic, and bring the roughness down just a little bit. And because we want this to be a calming video, we don't want it to be super reflective because that would just bring out highlights in a harsh, not very easy to look at way. Let's bring that down like that. Let's apply, there we go. Okay, let's edit this here real quick. Face select, and take these two edges here. Press EZ, and extrude them up on the Z axis here. And bevel this. There we go, tab, shade smooth. Now we have a nice backdrop. And let's apply some glass to this one. Come over here and click Glass BSDF. There we go. And with this one, we're going to link these for the material. So let's do Control L, link material, those two selected. So now, let's just give these, I think in my video that in my render that I posted a while ago, I just had everything the same color. So I think I'm going to do that. Just have everything except the stand. Everything except this loop be the same metally. Yeah, because that's got a nice calming effect. We'll worry about lights in a moment. So now, let's add a transitionary element there, because that's a little bit harsh. Major GZ. Alright, there we go. Shade smooth. Alright, so let's get a noise. And a Voronoi. And this will just add that little bit of, I don't know. It just adds a little bit of something that makes it appealing to your eyes here. Let's apply the scale to this. I forgot. Apply scale, apply scale, apply scale, apply scale, apply scale. There we go. So now let's select this and Control T. And this is a vanilla add-on here. You just have to go to Edit, Preferences, and turn on Node Wrangler. And we're going to set this to Object. Is that right? Yep, there we go. So now, let's get a camera here. Add camera, find an angle you like, and hit Control-Alt-0. Go. Not quite. Let's try this one. Control-Alt-0. G. There we go. You know what? Let's change the scale on this. There we go. Perfect. So now you can even have this animated here. If my computer doesn't crash, here we go. $40. There you go. So you can have this animated, do whatever you want with it. I personally just like to have it still. And then let's go over here, change this to cycles. Now let's go to our world settings here and set this to environment texture. Now you're going to want to go to a website such as Polyhaven. Polyhaven. No, it's in my bookmarks. There we go. Come on. There we go. Our Wi-Fi is very bad. So this website is really good. You can get all kinds of HDRIs, textures, models even. So select one of these, whatever you think looks cool, and then come over to Blender here, click Open, find your file that has it. I forgot where I saved it. Oh boy. Oh, here we go. So now just select whichever one you want. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow super realistic lighting. So we go over here to Cycles. There we go. So already that looks really good. Let's get Scene World and Scene Lights here. There we go. So that adds quite a bit of nice shadows, and it just looks really professional. So, but we still want to have a couple areas accentuated here. So let's bring that out. Let's go to layout here. There, and add in a light. And we're going to do a point light. There we go. And move this around until you get a nice rim highlight. Right off the top there. Okay. And you can even bring the settings strength down. The reason you have so many different light points that it looks like it couldn't be CG. If you know what I mean, it adds that multi-light realism to it. So let's do this and this. Now let's find the best angle. RZ, select your background and your camera here. And set the rotate to 3D cursor, which should still be in the center. RZ. So now let's find angle. We don't want an angle that has a bunch of shadows casting backwards, because that would kind of ruin the illusion. We want some with nice highlights and not too harsh of shadows. And it's also good to keep in mind the fact that we're going to be animating this, or that it is animated. So keep in mind the position that everything else will be in. I think that looks pretty good. Go. There. Alright, so now let's see how this looks in cycles. Center it up there. Okay, let's see how that looks. I think it looks a little bit dark, so let's copy this light here, bring it over. Okay, copy, bring it back. There we go. Find the pretty renders are lighting that makes it just perfect. There we go. And also, because I'm going to be exporting this as a shorts format, because that tends to be what's popular on YouTube, I'm going to set these to 1080 or 1920 by 1880 here, or 1080. Yeah, I had it right the first time. So X and Y, and that just sets the shape of your camera here and the end resolution of your render. Now let's go over here, set the focal length, and we want it to be kind of wide angle, so kind of like that. There we go. 30 tends to be nice. There we go. Can go here. I don't know, does wide look better or does flattened look better? I think it has to be sort of wide, not too wide. I think 50 is a good combination there. And then we get everything in frame here. Okay. Easy, move it up a little bit. So now we can work on depth of field. So this is going to allow us to have some parts blurry. So we want this part to be in focus. So just turn the distance there till it's just in focus. There we go. Let's pause it here. There we go. So now if we look at that in cycles, let's see how that looks. And that looks really good. I'd say we move that over, that back. And there you go. We have a perfect looping animation. Hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial. I'm going to be posting them every Sunday at 2 p.m. And yeah, hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you all next time.